Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and we're back here once again to read some stories from Reddit. Or steal some stories from Reddit, either way you want to look at it. The main story today is from Reddit Relationships, the place to post about any problems you might have in your relationships. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but the main story today is. It's also another casualty of the quarantine. Been a lot of that lately. People stuck with each other all the time sometimes realize they don't like each other that much. Anyway, let's begin with Reddit Relationships. Girlfriend buried my beans. It's possible you've read this one before because it was making the rounds on Twitter several weeks ago. Which of course means the Reddit mods deleted it, and I only have the text. It won't fill up a whole video, so I'll throw something else food related in at the end. Let's go. My 30 male girlfriend 30 female buried all of my beans in the woods and won't tell me where, causing a fight between us. Hello, with all that is going on, we have stocked up on supplies, including some canned goods. I ordered a few weeks ago 30 cans of beans. 10 are black beans, 10 are kidney beans, and 10 are pink beans. Also, I ordered 15 cans of chickpeas. I thought this was a reasonable amount of beans and chickpeas to have every now and then, and would last for quite some time. However, last night I opened the cabinet because I wanted to make a vegetarian chili using 2 cans of beans, but all the beans were gone. What the hell? I asked my girlfriend and she told me she buried all the beans in the woods. At first I thought she was joking, but she explained no, she had buried the beans in the woods. What the fuck? I asked her to explain and she told me that she was afraid that if things get bad we might have to worry about looters or whatever and that the beans would be in danger of being stolen. I said I thought this was completely ridiculous and unlikely. She became angry at me and said she is protecting our beans. According to her logic, the beans are safely buried in the woods behind our apartment complex, and if we ever need some beans, she will go to the stash and dig up a can or two, but would prefer if we save them all for if things get worse. I said, why only bury the beans? Why not bury our more valuable items? She said the canned food was most valuable for long-term means, and that since we get fresh food in our online grocery deliveries, it would make sense to continue to stockpile beans. She intends to go bury more beans in the woods every week. This was too insane for me, and I got very upset. I demanded to know where the beans were buried, and she refused to tell me. She said if I knew, she was afraid I'd dig them up. I said damn right I would. She said I will never jeopardize the beans. I crossed the line and said she was out of her mind. She stormed away. We have not talked since last night. I think it is completely ridiculous to bury the beans in the woods, and I want to find them and dig them up, but apparently my girlfriend is taking this very seriously. How can I convince her to tell me where the beans are? And do you think I should convince her to get therapy or something, or should I break up with her? So confused. Is this normal for a girlfriend to bury beans or otherwise hide them? Yeah, I can see why he's so concerned about this. The beans aren't really the problem. He's more thinking, am I really dating someone who thinks this is a good idea? Is my girlfriend completely insane or is she messing with me? Well, it turns out she was not messing with him. The update is mostly just retelling the story, but here are the new parts. I admit I posted a version of this on the relationships subreddit the other day, but they closed it with no explanation. I assume because they just decided it was fake. I can see how they might think that, but this is a true thing that happening and is happening, and now there is more to it because I actually got broken up with over it. The following day I tried to put my foot down, and I'm not usually a foot downer, but there are rare issues where compromise is out of the question, and I foolishly decided this was one of those issues. I demanded to know where the beans were buried, and I told her if she was going to bury beans I paid for in the woods that I would move out. We fought about it, and I kept insisting. In hindsight, I should have just let it go and created my own hidden stash of beans in the apartment and given her time to maybe cool down about this bean burying scenario, but I blew it all out of proportion. Yeah, it's weird to bury beans in the woods, but why did I have to press it? What's the harm at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things? But I kept demanding her to take me to the beans or at least draw a map or something, and finally she broke up with me. Over the beans. I have lost the love of my life because I couldn't let the damn beans go. I am in disbelief. She moved out. Not only am I heartbroken, but I am now paying full rent instead of 50%, which is a huge financial issue for me. Well, that sucks. It sounds like he wouldn't keep pressing the issue if he knew it would lead to a breakup. This doesn't explain her behavior at all, though. It's one of the weirdest takes. Oh, we better bury canned food in the yard so no one loots it. I haven't seen any looters during quarantine, by the way. Let me know if you have. Okay, I'm covering this next story because it really pisses people off. Trigger warning if you're particular about your kitchen utensils and such. Am I the asshole for banning my husband from the kitchen until he learns to respect my equipment? I love to cook. I've been cooking since I was a little kid. I have some good cooking equipment that reflects that fact. My husband decided that he was going to start cooking as well, which I was all for. But he started cooking in the kitchen and damaging my equipment. A non-comprehensive list. He cooks with my all-clad skillets with the heat up high for 15 minutes and then washes them by bringing them over to the sink and dousing them with cold water. He says he likes the sizzle. At least one of the skillets is warping a bit. It won't sit straight on the stove anymore and doesn't cook evenly. He uses my chef's knife to scrape crud off the counter. I told him to use my razor blade scraper to do it. He said, well, that would be overkill. I have a small toaster oven that acts as a mini oven. I absolutely love. He butters toast before putting it in the oven. The fat drips onto the element. He did this so much that I've already had to have the element replaced once. He continues to do it and says we could just replace it again. He cooked a tomato sauce in my seasoned cast iron skillet and then ran it through the dishwasher. He leaves lemon juice, tomato, vinegar spills all over the granite countertops. When I tell him to clean up immediately, he laughs and says, it's granite, it's indestructible. This all annoyed me so much, I'm annoyed just typing it. Finally, I told him that unless he starts actually respecting my equipment, I'm going to put it all under lock and key. He said, what, you're banishing me from the kitchen? From my own house? I said, yes, you're ruining all of my things. He implied that it all belonged to him since he bought it. But I am fully aware that I had all of this stuff and bought all this stuff before we got married. Am I the asshole? All I want is for him to respect my things. He knows that I hate when he does this stuff, but he shouts and yells and calls me overcritical every time I try and explain it to him. I'm at my wit's end. I especially like when she asks him, hey, could you please not ruin my pans for no reason? And he's just like, LOL, no, I like the sound it makes. Hey, this is still nowhere near 10 minutes. I am so bad at gauging this. Alright, this calls for another food-related Am I the Asshole story that I've been saving. Am I the asshole because I ate more than my share of a 6-foot party sub last night? What I thought would be a total non-issue has ballooned into a huge problem, and I'm up at 7:05 a.m. dealing with it. By the way, this situation sounds like it's not the only thing ballooning into a huge problem, am I right? I figured while I wait for a text I could post here to see if what I did was really that bad. I'm a big fat ass, there's no way around it. I love to eat, which probably borders on addiction, but I figure since I'm only hurting myself, it's probably better to just live my life. I have some great friends, although there is no doubt I'm the harmless, funny, token fat guy of the otherwise pretty good-looking group. I guess that sets the stage enough. Last night my friend hosted UFC and I was invited. He got a 6-foot party sub. I also brought homemade wings that are sort of my specialty. Well, of course people flocked to the food and I had basically one serving of the sandwich, but people devoured my wings and I didn't get to have a single one. Which is totally fine, that's why I brought them, but maybe an hour later I was starving. I kept eyeing the sandwich and I'd say there was about 3 feet of it left. I waited an hour, then another half hour, and no one had touched it. They were still munching on chips, pretzels, and whatnot. So I was like, screw it, I took about half of what was left and ate it. Then the last half sat for another 10 to 15 minutes and no one said anything, so I ate the rest. Well, to be sure, as I was swallowing the last bite, the host's girlfriend asked where the sandwich was. Like I was the guilty party, pretty much everyone pointed at me. I guess they'd noticed me eating the sandwich. She was furious and said that I was an incredible pig and that I had been super selfish to eat 3 feet of a sandwich. I felt so bad I tried to explain to her that I really did wait over an hour and thought people had lost interest. I also tried to explain how everyone had ate my wings and she said something along the lines of, you brought them to share, Alan. If someone had eaten over half by themselves, that's not fucking sharing, is it? I offered to order pizza or even go to Subway, and she said that it was a pathetic offer because the party sub had been from a local shop owned by her friends. I said I was sorry, but the night was so tense from that on. I woke up this morning to several texts from my twin sisters, the host's girlfriend's best friends, saying that I had to get my shit under control and that everyone is really mad at me and that I embarrassed myself last night. I tried to explain to them what my mindset had been and they haven't responded. Was I the asshole for eating that much of the sandwich last night? Edit, I guess I've been banned from responding, but my inbox has 1,200 notifications, so I can't find out why. To answer what seems to be the most common misconception, this wasn't a Subway party sub, so definitely not 4 times the size of a regular sub. This is a local place, so it's about 1.5 times the width of a regular sub. It's still a ton of food, don't get me wrong, but I can down 5 Subway footlongs in an afternoon easily. This is probably about equivalent to that, not 12 like some people are saying. I think it's probably pretty hard to justify eating 3 feet of a sandwich, especially casually while at a party. People in the comments are saying these things cost like $100, but I've never bought one. I can't imagine wanting to absolutely gorge myself while at a party, while watching UFC nonetheless. I hope he brought his 5XL tap-out shirt. Anyway, yeah, the food was there to be eaten by people, but this wasn't just a little too much, it was way too much. If you ate half and the rest of the party combined ate half, yeah, that might be a bit of a problem. Anyway, I'll do a longer video next time, but thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say, let me know in the comments. I'm sure there will be people there thanking me for giving them an aneurysm with that second story. If you're new here and want more, consider subscribing to see my content easier. And I'm going to do something for 10k subscribers. Remind me if I forget. I forget things a lot. I'm sure everyone loved that I put Reddit relationships in the title and then 2/3 of the video was just Am I the Asshole instead? I should probably just try covering Am I the Asshole one of these days and see if I can get views with it. I'd also like to thank my generous patrons. I'll do that by name very soon here, but I like to wait a week when the new month starts because a lot of payments don't go through immediately and I don't want to leave anyone out. So probably next Nice Guy or Neckbeard video. I really appreciate the support though. Apart from still being alive, I don't have much else to say. Have a great day, everyone, and be sure to give some thought to what you appreciate more in this crazy coronavirus world. Your beans or your relationship?